Hi, everybody. I'm Ted Everingham. I'm here on behalf of the alumni board of our alma mater, Albion College. I was a graduate of 1961, for heaven's sakes. But I'm also the host of these Briton conversations where we meet some interesting people with Albion ties. Some of them are graduates, some are faculty. And today we're going to talk with a student from Albion, class of 2021, making him a senior, Mitch Arendsen. How are you, Mitch?
I'm doing great. How are you, Ted?
Thanks for joining us.
Hey, glad we could do this.
You're from Holland, Zeeland?
Yep, the Holland, Zeeland area. Actually, Zeeland, but people get that confused with
They
Holland
don't know
all the
where
time.
that is.
So
They don't know where that is.
that's west side of Michigan, just kind of south of Grand Rapids. So
Right. Close to Lake Michigan.
Yeah. Oh yeah, very close.
Yeah.
We have like 15 minutes. So
It's a great part of the state.
I do love it, especially in the summer, being close to the lake. Big perk.
I know. My hobby is racing sailboats. So,
Oh wow.
So I love Lake Michigan, and over here it's Lake St. Clair, and you know you can actually see the other side of the lake from where I am.
Yeah. Not on Lake Michigan.
Yeah. So how is it you came to Albion?
Yeah, so for me, I had a buddy of mine who got me interested in Albion. He had been looking into them already, had kind of found out, so he kind of told me to check it out. And then I met with the football coaching staff. Obviously, I play football here, so that was kind of a big part of my decision. And so, I came on a tour. I had a great tour guide. Chesy, I think, was my tour guide. She's graduated now. But I really love the campus.
Let me interrupt to say Chesy's on the alumni board with me. I know who you mean.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, Chesy was my tour guide. Chesy's great. And so she gave me a tour, and I met with a lot of different people on campus, and I think just through meeting people, I really felt like home pretty much right away. I'd visited other colleges before, and nothing really quite felt the same. And I think I came here, and then by the time we left, I told my parents I'm going to come here. It was kind of one of those things when you know. So
well, I've heard that story from a lot of students and a lot of graduates who said the first time I came to campus, I felt like I was home, even though I'd never been there before. And that for me, that feeling just intensified over the years. Always felt like I was home.
Yeah, I think for me, as I've been here now for 4 years, it's definitely kind of the same things happening, not on the same scale as for you, who've been alumni now for a while. But even for me, as I've been here for 4 years, it's every year as I come back, and I always look forward to coming back. And, you get to know more people, and it starts to feel every day a little bit more like home.
Yeah, it really is a special place. Now, you are majoring, as I recall, in finance and communications.
Yep, double major. So I started out with finance, and then first semester junior year I added the communications major as well. So just kind of finishing up those right now and really loving it. So it's been great.
You graduate in May?
I will graduate actually in the fall of 21 with COVID and everything. I decided that I wanted to come back play another season of football because they were going to let me. So it's one of those things you can't really pass up, and I guess there's another opportunity to be here. But I will walk a graduation in the spring with all my classmates, which is kind of a nice experience too.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you bet. It's a great experience. Yeah. So with communications and finance, which is your career path as far as you know right now?
Finance, I would say, is definitely my career path. That was always kind of my first love, whether, even from an early age, just interested in how money works, how the financial system works, the ins and outs of that. It's definitely always kind of been my first love. The communications was something that I felt like I would excel at, and I added it because I took a few classes, realized that, hey, this is something that I also enjoy and I'm pretty good at. But I think it's really to kind of help me excel in the world of finance more than just the communications career path.
Oh, I get that. Yeah. As we talked about before we started this conversation, I spent a lot of time in radio, starting when I was 16 and right on through college, and still dabble in it. And I love it. But there's a better career path, I thought.
Yeah.
And so I became a lawyer. I guess I still think it was a better career path. So what would you like to do though with that finance degree?
Yeah, so I think for me, I'm looking at banking, specifically commercial lending. I think is kind
Hmm.
of where I would love to end up ideally. That's a few years down the road. But right now, I'm just looking around for internships, kind of in the interview process, with a few different places. Working on the summer internship, um, and then hopefully to build off that.
You have an idea, you want to go back home or you want to go someplace else?
I'm really not tied down by too much. Obviously, there's a part of me that would like to be around my family, and my brothers are starting to have kids, so to be able to around, some nephews and nieces would be great. But I think I'm really just going to take whatever I can get, whatever I feel like is going to suit me best. I think Michigan's too great to leave for the most part, so I think I'll probably end up staying in Michigan. But in terms of in the state, I could see myself in Detroit, east side of the state, or I could see myself ending up back home too.
My advice would be keep the options open and go where you're happy. That's
Yeah.
the key. As long as you got to work, you might as well be happy doing it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you had said that, you grew up kind of on the west side, Buchanan area too. How did you end up then on the east side?
Well, actually, I was born in Buchanan, which is,
Hmm.
for people who are watching, is Berrien County, the most southwesterly county in the state of Michigan, near Niles, just south of, just north of South Bend, Indiana. And I was born there, but my father was transferred to Jackson, Michigan. And that
Okay. Yeah.
happened, that happened the summer before I started second grade. So I really grew up down
Oh,
the
okay.
road from Albion, just 20 miles away.
Yeah.
Um, and I came to Albion. I had some good fortune to win a little scholarship money that made it feasible for me to go there. I had planned to
Yeah.
go to Michigan.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
hindsight tells me, Mitch, that skinny 18-year-old kind of introverted kid that I was then probably did a lot better at Albion for reasons you'd understand than I would have done in, the massive university. So
Yeah.
it was good for me. I Yeah, I loved every minute of Albion, starting about the first 10 minutes on campus as a freshman. I just absolutely loved it, and
Yeah.
great
No,
fun.
I bet. Especially, you said you were a little more introverted at, a smaller campus like we have. It's a little easier to get lost on a bigger campus, especially if you're not going to put yourself out there. So I can imagine for you being here and being able to kind of getting pushed into some of that stuff probably was pretty helpful.
Oh yeah, it really was. In fact, the kid that graduated from Albion was a lot different than the kid that entered Albion. I
Hmm.
matured during that period. I became more outgoing, more confidence in myself. It's just one of those things that happens at an Albion college,
Yeah.
as you appreciate.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned you played football back home, and
I
you
did.
play
Yes.
football at Albion.
I do. Yep. So we just started practice on Sunday, actually. So been excited to be able to get back into it. It's been way too long since we've actually played a game. So I think start of March we're gonna be able to go out there and finally compete in a real game again.
They're all conference games.
Yep. Yep. So we have 5 conference games this year. One of our conference opponents decided to opt out this year, so we get to play 5 of them. So that's really exciting. Take anything you can get, especially this year.
Yeah. Well, it had to be disappointing not to play last fall because of the pandemic.
Yeah, it felt really weird. I think this is my first fall probably since kindergarten that I wasn't playing football. I think I started playing flag football in first grade. So to have a fall where I wasn't playing football, it felt really weird. Not gonna lie.
So what
That was
what
definitely an adjustment period.
what position do you play?
I played defensive end. So go out there and hit guys. I like to hit, not get hit.
Well, that's good. One of the
Yeah.
things that we talked about earlier was radio. For I think 3 years, maybe four, I broadcast all the Albion College football games,
Oh,
which were
really?
great fun. And the press box in those days was a shadow of what it is now, but
Yeah.
it was fun. I love footballs. I've never been big enough to play, but it's a favorite
Yeah.
sport of mine. So I just may sneak out and watch you play this next month. And
Hey, you go for it. That'd be great. We'll see. I know all of our games are going to be live streamed this spring. I don't know how many fans will actually be allowed. But yeah, no, that'd be awesome. We'd love to have you come out.
I've sat on my couch with a Michigan game on television and you guys on my iPad and watched both at the same time. That's what a nut I am.
There you go. That sounds like a pretty good Saturday to me.
Yeah. Well, you wrote something about spending a couple of weeks in South Africa. Tell us about that.
Mhm. Yeah, so after my senior year, after I graduated, I think we walked on graduation, and then maybe like a week later we left. It was actually my math teacher in high school, worked with the organization, and so about 10 of us went down. It's in Lesotho, which is a landlocked country in South Africa, at an orphanage called Beautiful Gate. And so Beautiful Gate works with, just kids that get dropped at their doorstep, really. And so we went down there, and man, from the second being there, it was really eye-opening. I mean, I think we had like a 2-hour bus ride from the airport to get there, and the bumpiest roads I've ever been on my entire life. It was like, it made Michigan roads seem, perfect, which is a long stretch. But yeah, worked with the kids there, whether that was, just when they woke up in the morning, helping the house mothers feed them, or walking them to school, or just playing with them, really doing whatever. I think, we were there for a couple of weeks, and really what you learn is that you probably get more out of it than they do, but it's a good experience. Really eye-opening, I think, for me, and it has shaped a lot of who I've become over the years too, of just, being grateful for what we have every day. Especially in a situation where these kids are left basically to die. And so it's a tough go for them.
Had to be a life-changing experience for you.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, so we went down there in the summer, in South Africa being in the Southern Hemisphere, winter there.
Yeah.
And, they don't have any heat. So it got down to maybe 32 degrees. So I was sleeping in sweatpants and big thermal socks and a nice heavy blanket. But a lot of the kids and a lot of people around there really aren't fortunate enough to even have that. So you think about Africa, and you generally think a lot about, it being warm and hot, and in the winter there, it's tough for them still, even to stay warm.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
That'd be a real eye-opening experience.
Yeah.
So
it was.
So understand a little about what you've been studying at Albion, and I understand about football. What are some of your other activities on campus, Mitch?
Yeah, so I kind of stay busy. I do a lot of work on campus, mostly for the admissions office. I give a lot of tours to prospective students, a lot of tours to football players, just because that we kind of have a lot to talk about, a lot of similar interests. But other than that, I do have my own tour guide team. So I do some more training tour guides now that I've been a tour guide for a bit. Just kind of give me an opportunity to expand my leadership abilities. That's always something that I've really been interested in. So, other than that, when I get a chance, I'd love to get off campus, do some golfing. But, other than that, it's really school, football, and working when I can, I feel like that's college for a lot of kids.
I have the impression that you don't have one bit of regret about choosing Albion.
No, there's a lot of people that you hear that have some regrets about other stuff. And for me, I think I would recommend it to everybody. And I don't have any regrets about it whatsoever. I think every day that I'm here, I'm grateful that I'm here. Last spring when we had to go home, that was pretty disappointing. Not that I don't love my parents, and I love being home with them, but at the same time, it is, Albion feels like home, and it always has. So yeah, no regrets whatsoever.
I'm not surprised. We don't have any regrets that you came to us either. You're a good fit. I'm going to keep your email address and kind of keep track of you. I may not get out to see football in March, but I'd love to.
That's all right.
I'd love to sit down and visit with you face to face one of these days.
Yeah.
If that doesn't happen, Mitch, I would wish you luck, except I think you won't need it. You're going to have that Albion degree and you've got your
Appreciate that.
personality and training, you're going to do just fine.
I appreciate that. It means a lot coming to, someone who's been successful, through the Albion process. So, and I look forward to keeping in touch for sure. Whether that's out to a football game or, if I get the chance to, sit down and have another conversation with you, that's always something that,
I'd love
I
that.
appreciate. I feel like
I'd love that. And
a lot of valuable experience.
if
So.
your travels bring us to this corner of the state and I can help in any way, let us know. Let me know. I'd love to help you. I wish you well. Thanks very much for being
Hey, thank
with
you. I
us.
appreciate that.
Go Brits.
Yes, you too. Hey, go Brits.